Maybe I didn't hurt you quite as good as
And this is Enkh Erdene from Mongolia, and he has won Mongolia's Got Talent.
In a moment that had even the most seasoned judges doing double takes, a young singer from Mongolia stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage, and within seconds had the crowd wondering, who is this cowboy and how is his southern drawl more authentic than most Americans? His name is Enkh Erdene, but fans around the world now know him as the Mongolian Cowboy. With a voice that echoes the spirit of Johnny Cash and the soul of George Strait, he stunned an entire nation not just because of his uncanny command of American country music, but because he sang with the kind of raw emotion that transcended language, borders, and expectations. But just as his star seemed ready to rise on a global stage, the story took an unexpected turn. Despite standing ovations and vocal support from the judges, Enkh Erdene was eliminated, leaving fans furious, confused, and asking one question: how did a singer this good get sent home? Coming up, we trace the incredible rise of Enkh Erdene, the controversies behind the scenes, and the heartbreak that left millions asking, did AGT get it wrong? Long before the lights of the AGT stage, before the cameras, the applause, or the viral headlines, Enkh Erdene was just a quiet boy with a guitar in the vast windswept steppes of Mongolia. Born in a region often dubbed the Little Oklahoma of Asia, Enkh Erdene grew up surrounded by rolling plains, rustic charm, and a surprising local fondness for American country music. It's a cultural curiosity few outside the country know exists, but for Enkh Erdene it planted the seeds of something remarkable. By the time he could walk, he was strumming chords. By his teenage years he was already imitating the gravelly tones of country legends, despite never setting foot in the United States or speaking a word of English. His influences: Tennessee Ernie Ford, Johnny Cash, George Strait, icons of a world far removed from his own, yet deeply connected through music. What started as a childhood fascination quickly became a calling. And in a country known more for its traditional throat singing than Nashville twang, Enkh Erdene became an anomaly, a Mongolian teen with the voice and soul of a southern cowboy. His early years weren't spent chasing fame. They were spent chasing the perfect note, the right emotion, the spirit of country music. And as we'd soon discover, the world was about to listen. It was 2016 when Enkh Erdene first stepped into the national spotlight, auditioning for the second season of Mongolia's Got Talent. At just 13 years old, the shy teenager clutched his guitar and sang a heartfelt country tune that stopped the judges in their tracks. The crowd didn't know what to make of it at first. A young Mongolian boy singing American country music, but within moments, skepticism turned to awe. His voice carried the grit of the American South, yet it was rooted in something uniquely his own. His pitch-perfect delivery, emotional restraint, and natural twang left audiences stunned and enchanted. From that first audition, he became a crowd favorite. As the competition unfolded, Enkh Erdene didn't just participate, he dominated. Each performance brought something new: a richer tone, a deeper emotional pull, and uncanny impersonations of legends like Johnny Cash and George Strait. One particularly iconic moment was his performance of the jazz classic Feeling Good, which he transformed into a slow-burning showstopper, earning him thunderous applause and the affectionate nickname, the Mongolian Cowboy. Then came the finale. With a voice full of heartache and conviction, Enkh Erdene delivered his last song, and the country responded. He won the season by public vote, walking away with the grand prize of 100 million tugriks, but more importantly, he had etched his name into Mongolia's cultural memory. For many, his win marked more than just a talent show victory. It symbolized the arrival of an artist whose music knew no borders. And Enkh Erdene, he was only getting started. Following his win on Mongolia's Got Talent, Enkh Erdene's voice didn't just echo across the Mongolian plains, it began rippling across the internet. Clips of his performances started gaining traction on social media platforms, especially among Western audiences. Viewers were stunned not only by his pitch-perfect Southern accent, but also by the sheer sincerity in his delivery. Many couldn't believe what they were seeing or hearing. "He sounds more American than most American country singers," one viral comment read. Others called him a reincarnated Johnny Cash trapped in a Mongolian body. Even the comparison to pop culture took a quirky turn. Some fans noted an uncanny resemblance, both in looks and vocal tone, to a cartoon character from Hey Arnold, named Mr. Hyun, particularly referencing the iconic Dangerous Lumber episode where Mr. Hyun sings classic country with heart-melting warmth. It was a light-hearted but telling sign of how deeply Enkh Erdene's music resonated with people around the world, across languages, generations, and even genres. What made him stand out wasn't just his voice, it was his presence. Calm, humble, and quietly confident, Enkh Erdene carried himself with the composure of someone far older than his years. He didn't chase fame with flash, he earned it with authenticity. And just as his videos were being shared thousands of times and featured by international country music blogs, Enkh Erdene made a decision that would elevate his global reputation even further. He set his sights on an international stage. In 2019, Enkh Erdene took what many saw as a bold, almost unthinkable step, entering the world's best. A high-profile global talent competition aired in the United States. It was a daring move. He didn't speak English, he had never set foot in America. And yet he was about to perform in front of a live audience and a panel of superstar judges that included Drew Barrymore, RuPaul, and country music legend Faith Hill. Most contestants might have cracked under the pressure. But when Enkh Erdene walked on stage, dressed plainly and calmly, something extraordinary happened. He opened with George Strait's Amarillo by Morning, and what followed was pure magic. Despite the language barrier, Enkh Erdene delivered the song with chilling authenticity, every note steeped in Southern emotion, every syllable pronounced with flawless precision. Even the judges looked stunned. Drew Barrymore blinked in disbelief. Faith Hill smiled in quiet admiration. RuPaul nodded, visibly impressed. The performance earned him a standing ovation. For a young man who couldn't understand the words he was singing, Enkh Erdene had done more than just mimic a sound. He had channeled its soul. It was a moment that reinforced what many had already suspected. Enkh Erdene wasn't just an internet phenomenon. He was a world-class talent. To mark the occasion, he released his first original single, a heartfelt country ballad titled Wake Up With You. The track, sung in English, showcased not only his vocal control, but his deepening connection to the genre. But even the brightest moments come with their share of shadows. In the battle rounds of the world's best, Enkh Erdene faced off against an equally talented contender, Lydian Nadaswaram, a young piano prodigy from India. In a close and emotional decision, Enkh Erdene was eliminated. Some viewers called it fair, others whispered of bias, questioning whether language, background, or genre had influenced the outcome. Regardless, one thing was clear, he had won over millions of hearts, even if he didn't win the trophy. And for Enkh Erdene, the journey was far from over. Most rising stars fade quietly after a major loss on a global stage. But Enkh Erdene, he came back stronger, and with something even more powerful than a viral performance, he came back with a voice that had evolved. In 2023, after several years of refining his craft, Enkh Erdene made a triumphant return, not through television, but through music itself. He released his debut album Idril Bayar, a rich 9-track collection that redefined what Mongolian country music could be. Unlike his previous English-language covers, this album was fully recorded in his native tongue. It wasn't a departure from country music, it was a fusion. The songs combined Nashville's soulful melodies with Mongolian lyrics and storytelling, creating a sound that was deeply personal and culturally rooted. Tracks like Edelin, Chi Minam, and Epilogue stood out for their emotional range and vocal depth. He wasn't just singing about love or heartbreak, he was singing about identity, distance, and the universal ache of longing, something country music has always done best. Critics praised the album for its originality and boldness. Fans across the globe streamed it in the thousands. And for many Mongolian listeners, it was a proud moment. A homegrown artist bringing their language to a genre long dominated by the West. Through this release, Enkh Erdene proved he wasn't just chasing a moment, he was building a legacy. A cowboy at heart, but a storyteller in spirit. And as it turned out, the next chapter of that story would bring him right back into the global spotlight. In 2024, just when fans wondered what Enkh Erdene's next move would be, the Mongolian Cowboy returned to America, this time as part of America's Got Talent Fantasy League. It wasn't just another audition, it was a high-stakes showdown among the world's best performers, with each judge drafting a dream team of talents. For Enkh Erdene, this was more than just another performance, it was redemption. He walked out quietly, no flash or fanfare. But the moment he sang the opening lines of Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places, the room shifted. His deep, steady tone wrapped around the lyrics with effortless authenticity. Each note carried not just technical precision, but emotional gravity, turning a familiar anthem into something deeply personal. Judges were floored, and so was the crowd. Heidi Klum, who had watched his earlier performances with growing admiration, selected him for her Fantasy League Dream Team, snatching him up before Simon Cowell could even make a move. "You have the voice of a winner," she told him. "There's something timeless about what you do." Behind the scenes, Enkh Erdene admitted he was nervous. It wasn't just the lights or the cameras, it was the weight of being one of the only non-English speakers competing in a deeply American genre, on American soil. But on stage, none of that showed. With quiet resolve and that signature cowboy calm, he delivered a rendition that reminded everyone why he'd been chosen, and why he'd become a global sensation in the first place. And yet, as powerful as the performance was, what happened next would shift the entire narrative. Just moments after delivering one of the most polished performances of the night, Enkh Erdene found himself at the center of a growing controversy, one that caught everyone off guard. Judge Howie Mandel looked puzzled. His expression didn't match the applause that had just filled the room. "Was that real?" he asked, turning to his fellow judges. His confusion wasn't about the quality, it was about the perfection. Could a Mongolian artist who doesn't speak English fluently really sing a country classic with such flawless Southern phrasing? Then came the question no artist ever wants to hear: was he lip-syncing? For a moment the audience went silent. The atmosphere shifted from celebration to suspicion. Online the debate flared instantly. Clips circulated, captions asked, "Is it too perfect to be live?" Heidi Klum wasted no time. With firm conviction she stepped in. "There's no lip-syncing on the AGT stage. None. Don't judge a voice by where it's from." Her words cut through the doubt like a knife. Simon Cowell, ever the showman, added his own jab. "There's this thing called the internet. It's how people in Mongolia discovered George Strait." Despite the judge's light humor, the moment exposed something deeper, a disbelief that someone from outside the US, from outside the language and culture of country music, could sing it better than most born into it. But fans were quick to respond. On social media, many defended Enkh Erdene passionately, calling the doubt condescending and tone-deaf. His supporters posted side-by-side videos comparing his earlier performances to the Fantasy League stage, showing that his voice had always been real, and always extraordinary. For Enkh Erdene, the moment was bittersweet. He had just proven his vocal mastery to a global audience, only to have it questioned in real time. But if anything, the doubt only fueled his legend. Despite delivering a performance that drew praise from both judges and fans alike, Enkh Erdene's journey on AGT Fantasy League came to an abrupt and unexpected end. His final song choice, Willie Nelson's iconic "Always on My Mind," a classic no doubt, but one that demanded subtlety, emotional restraint, and precision. And while Enkh Erdene gave it his all, delivering soft, measured notes with heartbreaking sincerity, it wasn't enough. The elimination was swift. No fanfare, no save, just silence, followed by disbelief. For millions watching, it was a gut punch. Online, the backlash was immediate. Fans took to social media to vent their frustration. One viewer wrote, "He brought me to tears and they sent him home." Another revealed a deeply personal connection to the performance, explaining how the song reminded them of a loved one lost during the pandemic. "He didn't just sing it," they wrote, "he lived it." Some questioned whether the elimination had less to do with Enkh Erdene's performance, and more to do with the song choice itself. Many felt that One in a Million You, a rumored alternative pick, would have better showcased his vocal range and cultural uniqueness. Others criticized Heidi Klum's strategy, suggesting that pushing him into softer, more restrained territory may have worked against him. But even in disappointment, something remarkable happened. Viewers didn't turn away, they rallied. Enkh Erdene's fan base grew exponentially. Support poured in from across continents, cultures and languages, and while his time on the show may have ended prematurely, his bond with the audience only deepened. In a competition designed to highlight global talent, Enkh Erdene reminded the world what real connection sounds like. If Enkh Erdene's elimination felt like the end of his journey, his fans would disagree. In the weeks that followed AGT Fantasy League, the Mongolian Cowboy saw an outpouring of support that most contestants only dream of. Messages flooded social media from every corner of the globe. From Nashville to New Delhi, Berlin to Ulaanbaatar, fans shared how his voice had moved them, how someone who didn't speak English fluently could still reach their hearts more deeply than artists who did. The hashtag #Mongolian Cowboy began trending. Fan tributes, reaction videos, and covers of his songs began to circulate. Even music critics took notice, calling his dismissal one of the most quietly controversial exits in AGT history. But for Enkh Erdene, this wasn't just a viral moment, it was a launchpad. Industry insiders now speculate about his next move. Rumors suggest he's already in talks to record a bilingual country album, his signature blend of Mongolian storytelling and American melodies. Others hint at possible collaborations with Nashville songwriters and even international tour dates. One thing is certain, Enkh Erdene has broken a barrier few even knew existed. He's not just a Mongolian singer doing country music, he's an artist who, against all odds, crossed continents, overcame language, and challenged what we think a country star should look or sound like. Whether it's a new album, a surprise duet, or another stage to conquer, one thing remains clear: the Mongolian Cowboy isn't done riding, he's just getting started. This video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. It is based on publicly available sources, media reports, and viewer commentary. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, some details may include speculation, personal opinions, or unverified claims that should not be interpreted as fact. All rights to clips, music, and references belong to their respective owners. We do not claim to represent any individual mentioned in this video.